conscious, then you're going to become Krishna conscious and eventually become a devotee. So that's like just laying the foundation for people to become Krishna conscious in future. And yeah, that's the very beginning. Okay, let's begin. I've started recording. Let's offer respect to Prabhupada. Om Jnanatamandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmalatam Yaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with a shining torchlight of transcendent knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 10, text 1. The title of the chapter is The Opulence of the Absolute. So we'll read the Sanskrit. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Bhuya Eva Mahabaho
Uya Eva Mahabahu
Shrinu Me Paramam Vacha
Shinu Me Param Vacha
Yate Ham Priyamanaya
Yakteham Priyamanayam
Vakshyami Hita Kamyaya.
Vakshami Hitkamaya.
So we started this last week, but we didn't get into the purport because I think Gulshan, I think you asked a question about why it's not saying Krishna, why it's saying Bhagavan instead of Krishna.
Yeah.
So we discussed that, and I think there was some other questions and discussions after that. So we didn't get into the purport. But
you know what? Me and Arjuna has got a similarities.
What's
Me
that?
and because it's written there, listen again, oh mighty arm Arjuna. Obviously he wasn't listening. That's why Krishna said, listen again. So I've got the same problem. I don't listen. So
Yeah,
me and
listen
Arjuna has got
again.
a similarity. Yeah. So me and
Yes,
Arjuna
yes.
are the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah.
want me to read?
Yeah,
The
and
Supreme
we'll just
Personality of
remember that Vyasadeva is writing this into words. So Krishna has spoken this conversation to Arjuna, and Vyasadeva was actually witnessing it from a distance. He wasn't actually there on the battlefield, but because he's a great sage and he's also an incarnation of God himself, that he was able to see everything on the battlefield from far away. And also Sanjay could do that too, because sometimes you'll read, right, where it says Sanjay Uvacha. So Sanjay is also narrating this whole conversation between Krishna and Arjuna to the blind king Dhritarashtra in Hastinapur. So they're sitting in Hastinapur, which is now known as New Delhi, which is quite some distance. Gulshan might know better. How far is it from New Delhi to Kurukshetra? It's quite a while, isn't it?
No, it's not that. Around maybe a 270 or 280 guys.
Yeah, but I mean that's quite far, and then so he was seeing it from that 280 k's away, so he was able to see it. That's a different kind of TV.
Power.
Yeah, special kind of TV.
Power.
And Sanjay, interestingly, is a disciple of Vyasadeva. So because from the mercy of Vyasadeva, his disciple Sanjay was also able to see what was going on in the Battle of Kurukshetra. So there was, all these great personalities were watching from a distance with their mystical powers and abilities that they had. So as we were saying, Vyasadeva's very carefully chosen all these words. So he chose not to put Sri Krishna Uvacha and he put Sri Bhagavan Uvacha just so that people would know forever afterwards that the Krishna who's speaking is actually God, because Bhagavan means God. And as we've said, that the word Bhagavan means full of opulences. And the title of this chapter, yeah,
it's like it says Bhagavan Vacha, because if we say Krishna Vacha, anyone can put their name Krishna. My mom's name is Krishna. As just one man walking there, he's also named as a Krishna, but nobody called as a Bhagavan. You never heard the name. Oh, my name is Bhagavan. Nobody said that. Have you heard about it? No one. No one has got a name Bhagavan. They might have a
Okay.
name Krishna. So
Mm.
if you put the Krishna Vachya, then it
Mm.
could be misunderstood by, oh, Lord Krishna say, or such and such person living on the street. His name is Krishna as well. But
Yeah.
nobody says, my name is Bhagavan. That's why it's a
Yeah.
Bhagavan Vachya. It
Okay.
means that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. 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 And the meaning of Bhagavan means full of opulences. So
Yes,
in this
that's right.
chapter, which is called the opulence of the absolute, so we'll be hearing more about the opulences of Krishna Bhagavan, full of opulences. Okay, yeah, so you can read the translation again, Gulshan.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, O mighty Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving a knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. What do you mean? It's better than what already explained? Means
Yeah, well,
what do you already
we'll
explain?
discuss that. That's a good
Okay.
question, and we have to look at that for sure because that's very important to understand what he's meaning by this. Firstly, how do we know from this verse that Arjuna is a good fighter? What do you need? What do you need to be a good fighter? What's one thing you need to be a good fighter?
Strength.
Strength. Okay, so where is Arjuna's strength
Courage.
mentioned in this verse?
Courage.
No, look at the verse.
I'm
So
mighty
where? Yeah, mighty armed. So Mahabaho. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna. So there's no Arjuna written in the verse, but Krishna's talking to Arjuna, and one of Arjuna's names is Mahabaho. Mahabaho means mighty arms. He has great arms. Actually, there was a pretty good Bollywood movie
Do
called
you watch Bollywood movie as well? I didn't know that.
sometimes called Bahubali.
Yes.
Bahubali. And Bahubali that has the same meaning. You know, he's got very strong arms. And in that movie, he does amazing things with his arms, you know, like that. So Arjuna is also like that, very powerful arms. And with those arms, he's pulling the bowstring and releasing
Yeah.
the arrow. Actually, Arjuna's famous for his bow fighting, and even his bow is very famous. You know what Arjuna's bow is called?
Gandhiva or something.
Yeah, Gandiva. Very good, very good. Gandiva. And Gandiva was given to him by a demigod. I'm trying to remember who gave it to him.
Parshuram?
I think
There was
Parshuram gave some things to
to-
someone else. It might have
I think
given
no,
other
that's the
things.
Lord Rama. Lord Rama, you know, when the
Yeah,
Parshuram bow and arrow was sitting there, nobody can touch it, and then
yeah,
anyone can open it up and can marry
yeah,
Sita. That
yeah.
was the time there, and then
Yeah.
Sita just picked up like that and just cleaning like that. Nobody can
Okay.
touch it. Look, it's so heavy. He said,
Yeah.
"My that is Sita is not like average person."
Yeah.
Rama just hold it up, and then
Mm.
that was the time of wedding. Yeah. But that
Yeah.
was the Parshuram's bow and
Yeah.
arrow. But I don't know
So
about this
yeah,
one.
some great personality. I can't remember right now. We can research that. Gave the Gandiva to Arjuna, very special bow, very mystical bow, and hardly anyone could even pick it up, let alone put the string on it. Actually, you know how Arjuna married Draupadi. So Draupadi, well, she's a princess, and her king, I mean her father, a king, arranged the special Swayamvara ceremony. Swayamvara means when the princess is getting married, that ceremony is called Swayamvara. And she's allowed to select her husband, which is unusual, but because they're very high class, these princesses, then they are given that opportunity to select a husband. So there'll be different princes that want to marry the princess, and they'll have to perform some very powerful feats to attract her attention. And whoever does the most impressive things, then they can marry the princess. And the king, also the father, might place some special competition for them to do. Like, so for Draupadi's marriage, her father arranged that you had to shoot a fish which was suspended from some high up place, and the fish is above a wheel. So you had to shoot through the wheel and get the fish. But you're not allowed to look at the fish. This is the really challenging bit.
Yeah.
You have to look at the reflection of the fish in a bowl of water. So you're the warrior's looking down at a bowl of water and has to look at the reflection and figure out where the fish is and shoot through the
And in
spokes
the
of the wheel.
eye, in the eye
Well,
of the
Arjuna
fish.
got it in the eye, yeah. So it's said that many of the soldiers, they couldn't even string the bow because they give it to you without the string on it. So you have to put the string. So many of them couldn't, many of the princes couldn't even put the string on the bow. And they would end up getting sprung in the distance, you know, they would get thrown, you know, because the bow was so big that the what do you call it, that force, it just threw the warrior, and hardly anyone could even string it. And interestingly, Karna also wanted to he was very attracted to Draupadi, and he was also very powerful because he's the son of Suryadev, the first child of Kunti before she got married, to Pandu. So it was sort of a bit of a unusual situation because in Vedic culture, very strictly, the unmarried girl is not allowed to mix with any male. But the sun god came to her when she chanted Suryadev's mantra, because she received this special mantra which she could call any demigod with by Durvasa Muni. So she served Durvasa Muni very nicely when she was an unmarried girl, and Durvasa was so pleased that he gave her these powerful mantras that can call any demigod. So one day when she's just a young unmarried girl, she thought, let me just try out these mantras. They probably don't even work, but anyway, I'll try it out. And then lo and behold, then Suryadev, the sun god, just turns up in her room, and she said, sorry, I didn't mean to, call you. You can go home now. And Suryadev said, I can't go without giving you
Too
something.
light.
So I'll give you a child. And she said, no, I'm not married. You can't give me a child. And he said, don't worry, I won't disturb your virginity. I'll put the child, I'll impregnate you through your ear. I think it was something like that.
No,
Anyway, huh?
Yeah, it's a bird from the ear. That's what called karna.
Yeah.
It
So
was a
that's
bird
why,
from
because
the
Karna
ear.
means ear.
Yeah,
So
ear.
I think he impregnated her, or somehow anyway the child came out of her ear or something. So she was still a virgin. But then, of course, she couldn't be hanging around with a baby. People are going to be very, know something's gone on. So it was very traumatic for her, but she had to put the baby in a basket in the water in the stream. And it went downstream, and one man found her, and then they took her and his wife accepted Kana as their child, and he never knew because he was abandoned as a baby. He never knew who his real mother was. So, but Kunti knew, and so anyway, Karna, he was very attracted to Draupadi, and but Draupadi said, and also Draupadi knew that he might be successful, and she didn't like Karna, she liked Arjuna. So she didn't want Karna to take part, knowing that he might win. So he said, no, this competition is only for Kshatriyas. So because Karna's parents were not Kshatriyas, so he was not allowed to compete for Draupadi. So he was very upset. He was very upset. And from that time, and then after that, of course, Arjuna won her. So that's one of the reasons why Karna was so much against the Pandavas, and he sided with Duryodhan because Draupadi had insulted him. Now, Kshatriyas can't tolerate any insult. They have a lot of pride. They have a lot of pride because Kshatriya means they're in the mode of passion. So Brahman is in the mode of goodness, Kshatriya is in the mode of passion, Vaishya is a mixture of passion and ignorance, and Sudra is in the mode of ignorance. So anyway, Kshatriya is in the mode of passion, they're very proud. So he was insulted. So he was, from that time, so envious of Arjuna because he took the woman that she wanted.
Even when he learned how to do the bow and arrow, his practice and all that, and he told that he's a Kshatriya, and then eventually they find out he's not a Kshatriya. That the guru, he was learning that, and he cursed him. He says, when you're on the battle, and on the last moment you be stuck, and then you gotta get like, that's what his chariot fall in there, and he couldn't take his wheel out.
Yeah, that was Parashuram. He did that. Parashuram was teaching him. Because Parashuram hated Kshatriyas. because a Kshatriya killed his father. A Kshatriya killed his father. So he actually exterminated the Kshatriyas on the planet 21 times with his chopper, which is called Parashu. That's why it's called Parashurama. Because Parashu means a chopper. It's a big long handle with a chopping blade on it, like a special kind of axe. So he went at the speed of the wind and then the speed of the mind, because he's an incarnation of God also, Parashuram, and he just decimated the Kshatriyas on the planet many times after another. So he didn't know that Karna was Kshatriya, so he taught him. But how did he find out was very interesting. He was a very good disciple, Karna, of Parashurama. So one time his guru was tired and he slept on Karna's knee,
on his lap,
on his thigh, so he was being like a good, nice cushion for his guru. And then one insect bit into his body. But Parashuram didn't want to move and disturb his guru's rest, so he tolerated the pain. And the blood came and fell on the body of Parashuram, and that woke him up, the blood falling on him. And then when he saw what had happened, he said, "You are a Kshatriya. Only a Kshatriya could tolerate the pain."
The blood, But he
like
cursed
that.
him.
Yeah, and he cursed him that you'll forget it when you need it the most, like that, all the mantras I've taught you.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. Yeah, so mighty arms. So warrior has to be very, very strong. That's why Prabhupada would laugh when he saw some like woman soldiers. No insult, Bhakti Mala, to you, but we have to see that the bodies are different. We have to, spiritually we're the same. Well, it's not that spiritually I'm higher or you're lower, or you're higher, I'm lower, or whatever. Spiritually, we're all part and parcel of Krishna. But materially, there are differences. Like Prabhupada said, you said man and woman is the same. Have you ever seen a man give birth to a child? No, obviously not. A man can't give birth to a child. And also, that one time Prabhupada went up to a woman police officer, and he said to the police officer, the lady police officer, if I grab your hand, what will you do? And everyone laughed, because generally, generally the male body is more stronger. Of course, now, women also work out at the gym, and maybe some of them take, what are those, steroids, right? They take steroids and try to make their bodies more stronger and everything like that.
When I was in Sydney, I asked one police officer, a girl, out for coffee, and then she said no. And I said, oh, okay, you married? She said no. I said, you got a boyfriend? She said no. And I said, why not? And then she said, I only go with the force, like on the police people only, but you're not a policeman. I said, oh, that's not fair. Things like that. And I think he can't punish me, only ask you out. But she said, no, definitely not. But okay, that's fine. But, I really want to go out with her, but she said no. Please, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, the Kshatriyas mean they have to protect the citizens, but So to protect the citizens have to be physically strong, Otherwise, how are you going to give protection? Very famous in the Vedic culture for protecting the citizens are the Sikh. The Sikh, very big. They're physically very big and very strong. And they drink lots of ghee and have lots of rotis. And they're very big and powerful. And also the Gurkhas, the Nepalese Gurkha, very famous for their just natural fighters. And they're very, and another quality of Kshatriya, you have to be very courageous. That means never run away, never scared. You know, if you run away on the battlefield, then you're definitely not a Kshatriya. That's the worst thing for a Kshatriya, to be shot in the back. If they're
He'd
shot in the
rather
back, that means
die.
they're running away.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest shame. That's massive shame for a Kshatriya. They would be very happy to die on the battlefield, to be shot to bits in the front, but they never want to be shot in the back, means running away. So you can read that. We can actually read that in the 18th chapter, the qualities of the different Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. So that's in the 18th chapter. It's earlier on. Maybe around, oh yeah, around 40. 40. Oh yeah. 41. Yep. We'll start from 41. 18th chapter 41.
Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material mode or chastiser of the enemy.
So this is very important, because this is not what's happening in the modern Hindu caste system. In the modern Hindu caste system, you're designated a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra according to your birth. But it doesn't say here it's anything to do with your birth. It's according to the qualities you have in the modes of material nature. So if you have the quality of goodness, you're a Brahmana. If you have the quality of passion, you're a Kshatriya. Nothing to do with my parents are Brahmanas or my parents are Sudra or whatever. Nothing to do with your birth. Depends on your personal quality that you have.
So if because I don't do according to Bhakti Mala, I'm not a very good cleaner, so definitely I'm not a Shudra.
No.
No, not necessarily. Actually, Sudra means you do what you're told.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that a Sudra is going to be a good cleaner, but they just
Okay.
have to do what they're told. You know,
Oh,
so
okay. Well,
yeah.
Prabhupada said in a Shudra is like a Kali Yuga, everyone's a Shudra anyway.
Yeah, because they're working for somebody else, so someone's telling them what to do. You know what I mean? So if you're working for somebody else, you're a Sudra.
But then how about the
Vaishya, a Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana does not work for anybody else. They have, like a Vaishya means they have their own business. They have their own business or their own farm or whatever. And
the TP
Kshatriya means they're the managing the land, and then they have
collecting the
people
taxes.
collecting taxes, and they're protecting them. And Brahmana means, well, you teach, and your disciples give you some guru dakshina and collect alms and give it to you like that. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya does not work for anybody else. If you work for somebody else, then immediately that makes you a Sudra. You know, and that's because they're in the mode of ignorance. They can't figure out for themselves. They're not intelligent enough to figure out for themselves a way of living independently. They have to depend on someone else. So they're compared to Shudras compared to a dog. Just like a dog cannot live without a master, isn't it? A dog without a master is a very bad position. And if a dog has a master, then it's very happy. You know, so Sudra is very happy to have a master, and otherwise they can't function. Actually, my father, he had an engineering business and he had people working for him. So he's like a Vaishya. And then he thought it'd be a lot better for his workers if he gave them some independence. And within his business, he'll make like lots of little businesses. And then each one of the workers can like take control of that particular department. And that's like their little business. So he thought they'd like that a lot. But actually they were so unhappy. They had to work everything out for themselves, and they wanted to go back to just being working under him. They were so happy working under him. They didn't want to have to figure out things for themselves. They just were happy to have a boss and just get paid at the end of the week. So Sudra's happy just to be told what to do, and then you get your pay packet at the end of the week. They're very happy. A Vaishya, if you have your own business, you don't know how much you're going to get at the end of the week. Maybe some week you make profit, like you, right, Gulshan? Gloria Jeans. Maybe some week you make profit, another week you don't make profit, you're lost. So that means you actually have to have more faith. So also you can look at it in terms of the degree of faith. Sudra has very less faith. They just want that, $800 comes at the end of the week. They don't have any faith that God's going to provide for them. Whereas Vaishya has more faith in the Sudra. You do your business, whatever it is, sell shoes or whatever, coffee or whatever, and you don't know what's going to come. You have some faith that God will send some customers to me, and then I'll make some profit, And then Vaishya also Kshatriya also has some faith that some citizens will want to come under his protection and they'll give some taxes and everything like that. But you don't know for sure. Or they have faith that they can win the battle. Maybe they won't win. Maybe they'll lose, And then Brahmana has even more faith, completely depending on God. That God will send some people to give some donation and everything like that. Some disciples will be inspired, to do some service and everything. They have absolutely no idea how they're going to be maintained, but just God looks after them. And so they have, different degrees of faith also. So they all have different qualities, but very important to understand, because sometimes they criticize, oh, you're like follow the caste system, but no, we don't, not the modern caste system. Well, this is nothing to, because that's by birth. We don't follow that modern caste system. We have the classifications, the divisions are according to the qualities of the person, like that, not according to birth. Okay, Bhakti Mala, do you want to read the next one? This, which is the Brahmana, 42.
Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work.
Does that sound like you, Gulshan?
Some of it he's got.
Definitely austerity. I give Gulshan that one. Austerity. Maybe not cleanliness. Because it says purity, right? So purity, that's the cleanliness one. Because you said you don't like cleaning, right?
No, it's not.
He's not into cleaning.
My standard actually is not
just a standard.
meet that
Okay.
The Western
Salt
standard.
shum.
I do clean.
Yeah. I'm just joking.
He's a clean person, so
yeah.
He's always clean. Yes.
Yeah.
Most important thing, you have to be clean heart. Doesn't matter clothes is 1 day old or 2 days old. As long as your heart is clean, that all it matters. Okay. Clean heart means Krishna resides in the clean heart.
Yes, very good. Oh, so that he's a real Brahmana.
I quite like, I think, being working underneath, like working for somebody. So maybe I just am a Sudra, but I quite like it. And I know I quite like working, even for maybe just for a
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being a Sudra. See, that's what happens in the modern caste system. Yeah. Everyone has this idea that Brahmana is very elevated and the Sudra is low class and everything like that. But in the original system, everyone is respected. And a beautiful example is given. The Brahman is compared to the head of society. So just like the Brahman is very intelligent, they give direction. So the Brahmanas give direction to the society, just like the head, right? The head gives direction to your body. Okay, go left, go right, go straight, go back. This is directions given by the head. So the Brahmanas compared to the head. The Kshatriyas are compared to what part of the body, do you think?
The hand.
The hands, just like the hands protect the body, so the Kshatriyas protect the society. And the Vaishyas compared to what part of the body?
legs maybe, or stomach or whatever.
Stomach, yeah. The Vaishyas are feeding. You know, they're growing the food, milking the cows. Like, you know, Krishna appeared in a Vaishya community, Nanda Maharaj Yashoda. They're milking cows and they're producing dairy products and living in that way.
Krishna was a Kshatriya.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Vasudeva and Devaki, but he didn't stay there very long. He only stayed there for a few hours. After a few hours, he was transferred. But he was brought up in a Vaishya community, and you know, milking cows and that. So the Vaishyas are compared to the stomach. So just like the stomach feeds the body, so the Vaishyas feed the society, and the Sudras are compared to the
Cleaning backside.
legs.
Okay.
They're compared to the legs. So that they get the work done. Just like your legs enable you to do work, you can go here and there and do work with your legs. So the Sudras, they are the laborers. So they do all the labor, do all the work like that. So do you like your head but you don't like your legs?
No.
Of
Or
course.
you
I
like your
both.
arms and you don't like your stomach? No, you like every part of your body. So in the same way, there should be mutual respect between all the different divisions. Just like we have equal, you know, love and respect for our hand and our leg and our head and everything. However, it is said that, we've said that, you know, you love every part of your body. However, if your leg is cut off, you can survive. If your arm is cut off, you can survive. But if your head is cut off, finish. You know, so still the Brahman is very important. And Prabhupada said this is the main problem in society. There's no head to society. There's no direction. So he said purpose of ISKCON is to be like the head of society, to give direction to society. It's very important.
Mm.
Very important. So Prabhupada especially was training devotees to be Brahmanas. Training devotees to be Brahmanas. However, we need to continue on from where Prabhupada left off. So Prabhupada's training the devotees to be Brahmanas, but still that's not enough. We still need a stomach and arms, and that's why he said just before he left in 1977 that 50% of my work is not completed. 50% of my mission is not completed. So what was that remaining 50%? Prabhupada said, I haven't re-established Varnashram Dharma. So what's Varnashram Dharma? This is these four divisions. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. He did Brahmana, yes, but not the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And then it also means Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. That's the four ashramas. So four Varnas, four ashramas. So Prabhupada hadn't completely re-established the whole system of four Varnas, four ashramas. He mainly worked on the Brahmanas, which is one of the four Varnas. So that was what he left us to do, his followers, to try to re-establish the full Varnashram Dharma. And we personally have taken up that mission to try to create some educational institution to train people how to be, you know, not only the Brahmana, but also the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, and the Brahmachari, Grihastha, like that, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. We want to create like an educational college for older students to teach these different Varnas and ashramas. And that the purpose of that is to create a more peaceful, prosperous society. And that is a stepping stone to Krishna consciousness. So just being a Brahmin or a Sudra or whatever, Grihastha or whatever, is not necessarily perfection. But the idea is if you're situated properly in Varna and Ashrama, then you can achieve Krishna consciousness much more, you know, easily, effectively like that. What do we see in modern society without this Varnashram being re-established? It's chaos, or Bhakti Mal has disappeared. Is complete chaos, isn't it? I mean, there's wars going on all over the world. People are just so stressed, anxiety, fearful. They can't even, you know, do their work properly.
At the moment is the beginning of Kali Yuga. Wait. more of the
Yeah,
time.
it's crazy. Yeah,
In
yeah,
the beginning is that bad. What about the later on? Oh my God.
I know, scary. We have to go back to Godhead. That's another reason why we have to get serious and go back to Godhead, not come back again. Yeah, it's very crazy situation. Okay, you want to read the other ones? You can read the Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and then we'll go back to
Yeah,
chapter 10.
so then, yeah. The 43, is it?
Yeah,
Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for Kshatriya.
Mm. See, power, so that's where the Bahu, Mahabaho, powerful arms come in. So Kshatriya has to be powerful like Arjuna. Is very powerful, yeah. Okay,
When you
Vaishya.
next one, um,
Yeah.
farming, cow protection, and a business are the natural work for the Vaishya, and for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others.
Yeah, so that's the main quality of the Sudra, is that they just work under someone else. They're working under someone else. Labor, doing the labor under someone's service to others. So that's the main criteria. So even it seems like, wow, very exalted scientist or teacher, doctor, engineer. But if they're working for someone else, they're all Sudras, all of them, all Sudras. If they're working for someone else, then they're a Sudra. So even it might seem, wow, they're very exalted position like that, but no, they're just Sudra, glorified Sudras, very glorified Sudras. But yeah, mostly Sudras. But if you're not working for someone else, like you either have your own business or you're collecting taxes, you have citizens, or you're like an independent Brahmana, then you're different than that. Otherwise, everyone else is a Sudra. Mm. Okay, so let's go back to our verse, text 1.
Yeah,
Mahabaho, mighty armed Arjuna.
yeah,
But this is not the main reason why Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Not the main reason why he's speaking to Arjuna is not because he has strong arms, but he's speaking to Arjuna because, very important word here, Priyamanaya, Priyamanaya, which means thinking you dear to me. And it's like it says in the verse, because you are my dear friend. So he's not speaking this knowledge to Arjuna just because of his strong arms, but especially because he's very dear friend of Krishna. So meaning it's by bhakti. So the only way you can get this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, the science of Krishna, is if you become a friend of Krishna. We have to become a friend of Krishna. And that's one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Starts off Shravanam, means hearing, Kirtanam means chanting, Vishnu Smaranam means remembering Krishna, and then Archanam means worshipping, Vandanam means offering prayers, then Archanam, offering prayers. I missed one. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Oh, Padasevanam. Yeah, worshipping the lotus feet. Worshipping the lotus feet, Padasevanam. Oh, and then Dasyam. Dasyam means serving. And then Sakyam. Sakyam means being a friend. So this is the point. And Arjuna is famous as being Krishna's friend. But we all need to make Krishna our friend. That we make Krishna Krishna is waiting, just waiting to be everyone's friend. He wants to be. He is the best friend of everyone. But what is the problem? Is he wants to be our friend, but what is the problem? We don't want to be his friend. This is the problem. Only the devotee wants to make Krishna their friend, But only if we make Krishna our friend will he reveal himself to us. Like, and and we can understand that from our own lives. Like, are you going to tell all your personal information, Gulshan, to some stranger?
No.
How much is in your bank? You know, where do you live? All this stuff. Oh, Bhakti Mala is there, is it? People? What's that? No, okay.
The person I can trust, or my friend.
Oh, hang on. There's Bhakti Mala.
Sorry,
That's
my
all right.
phone.
That's all right.
My phone overheated again.
Oh, I overheated again. Okay.
Put in the freezer.
Yeah.
On the
Abhay
freezer.
Prabhu said that you have to tell the bank account details to us.
Bank account details.
Yes.
You're not giving the full story, Gulshan. You're just telling part of the story. Now, what I was saying is,
money. What do you want my details
or she just,
for?
we need your bank account details. That's it. Abhay Charan wants your bank account details.
yeah. So, because you missed out, Bhakti Mala, what I was saying is that going back to the verse is that why Krishna is giving all this detailed knowledge about himself to Arjuna is not because he has the mighty arms. That's one definitely good quality, but that's not enough to make Krishna reveal all these personal information about himself to Arjuna. So why is he choosing Arjuna? And that's mentioned in this verse, Priyamanaya, because he's a dear friend. So because Arjuna is famous as Krishna's friend.
Not only dear friend, he said to Arjuna, you and me, we come in every yuga. You don't remember, I do. So
Yes, so not only has a
a
friend in this one life, he's
that's
friend life
Arjuna,
after
no?
life.
Of
Yeah,
course,
eternally
So
friend.
he's gonna be revealed to Arjuna only because he knows every life after life. He comes with me. So and Nakarana and Duryodhana, they don't come, but like Arjuna and Krishna, they come after life after life. So that's why he's gonna reveal to Arjuna, not to me.
Yeah. But as I was saying, Krishna wants to be everyone's friend because he's the father of everyone. He loves everyone. But the problem is, like I said just before, is that the individual soul doesn't want to have a friendship with God. You know, this is the problem. And because of that, then he doesn't reveal himself. And I was given the example, even in our own lives, are you going to reveal your personal information to a stranger? You're not. You're only going to reveal all the personal details about, yourself for someone that you trust, someone that's in your inner circle, that's a dear friend. Then to your dear friend, you'll tell everything, your happiness and your sadness and, your victories and your failures and, your finances or whatever it is, your shoulder to cry on or whatever like that. So you reveal everything, your personal desires and everything like that. So you reveal that to someone that you trust, your friend. You're not going to tell a stranger. So also Krishna is not going to tell everything about himself to anyone else except for a devotee, which is someone like Arjuna that has a friendship with Krishna. And so if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, we have to open up our hearts to Krishna and accept him as our friend. He wants to accept us, but so there's no question about that. Will Krishna accept us as his friend? But the only question to ask is, are we prepared to accept Krishna as our friend? And that's a devotee. So Krishna can only be understood by devotees, nobody else. Nobody else, doesn't matter how big a scholar you are, how big a scientist, whatever, if you're not prepared to accept Krishna as your best friend, then you're never, ever, ever, ever going to understand Krishna. And even if you're the most simple Sudra, cleaning the floor or washing the pots or whatever, doing what you're told, but if you accept Krishna as your friend, you're much more intelligent than any of those other people. Far more. Krishna will reveal everything to you like that. And that reminds me that one man, he came to Prabhupada's Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and said, I have this very difficult question. Nobody can answer it except for you. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, I'm busy now. You come back later and ask me a question. But in the meantime, you go to the pujari and do some service for the pujari with the pujari, and then come and ask me a question later. So he went to the pujari, and the pujari asked him to polish the brass for the puja paraphernalia, polish the paraphernalia. And that man didn't come to ask his question later on. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati saw him and said, "What happened? You were supposed to come and see me, ask me your question." And he said that while I was polishing the brass, the answer came. So what does that tell you? You know, that Krishna is pleased by your service. So by service, then Krishna reveals himself. This is how we show that we want to make a friendship with Krishna. That if you want to develop a relationship with someone, how do you do that? It's through serving them. So if you do some service for Krishna, he's pleased. He sees you're extending yourself towards him. You want to make a relationship with him. You're doing some service for him. And then he'll enlighten you. And that's Gulshan's favorite verse, 10:10. You know, to those that dedicate their life to serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. And that's bhakti. That's bhakti.
This applies in the everyday life as well, because if I bhakti tree chef, if I go accordingly what he say, I do it exactly. Sometimes he makes some sweets and something, and then he just give it to me. So if I don't listen to him, he
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
Right? It's applying in everyday life too. You know, if you listen to Jayanti, of course, she's gonna make a very nice prasadam and all that thing. If you always treat him, badly,
No, Jayanti has
good
to
luck.
listen to me, not the other way around.
Now,
She just come in
we
the
are
door. I just thought I'd throw
in
that
Kali
one in.
Yuga, Kali Yuga equal. Everyone equal in Kali Yuga.
I know.
Draupadi is worried about that she's gonna be a single mother, but there's plenty of single mother, and they're respected as normal.
Yes. So let's look at that verse which talks about this, that Krishna's only understood by the devotee, by nobody else, by devotional service. So that's 1855, around that area. 1850. We're going a lot to the 18th chapter today. 1855. Yeah.
One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full conscious of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is
So this is it. This is the criteria. The Krishna here is revealing how you can enter into a relationship with him, and become fully conscious of him. It's just by service. You just have to serve Krishna. And this is bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means connecting. So we're connecting with God. How are we connecting with God? Through bhakti, through service to God. There's karma yoga, jnana yoga, astanga yoga, so many yogas, hatha yoga, different ways, through exercises, through mental speculation, through fruitive activities.
Can we change that bhakti tree name to a bhakti yoga?
No, not necessary. Not necessary. Yeah.
Connecting.
Not necessary.
What does it mean
Because
to understand him as I am? I mean, how we could never understand Krishna, really, could we?
Yeah, I mean, not 100%, but enough.
Nobody did.
Enough. But enough. Not 100%. It said, I heard Prabhupada say that today in a class. Even Krishna doesn't understand himself 100%. Because as soon as Krishna understands himself, his energies expand. His energies are expanding eternally, unlimitedly. So as soon as he's comprehended his energies, they've just grown further. So, it says he can never fully come to an end of realizing all of his own glories, because his glories are always, expanding wider and further and further. So, and it says Ananta Shesha, who's an incarnation of Balaram, has hundreds of heads, and with his hundreds of heads, he's eternally glorifying Krishna's qualities, but he can never finish them.
No.
You can never finish them. They're always getting more and more and more and more. And that's because, his relationships with his devotees are just developing eternally with all unlimited devotees, and they're just having these ecstatic pastimes, eternally, ever fresh, newer and newer pastimes. And the love between Krishna and his devotees is just increasing exponentially every moment, every second. Their loving relationships expanding. It's not static, saying the same. It's ecstatic. It's always expanding. Yeah, so but it's not about that we have to know everything about Krishna, but just know enough to become attracted to Krishna, that we want to serve Krishna,
Yeah.
because I mean, why is it that 99.9% of the people don't want to do any service for Krishna? Because they're just completely ignorant. They're just completely ignorant. So we need to know something about Krishna, enough that we develop a little bit of attraction to start to serve. And as soon as we start to serve Krishna, then you want to do more. It feels so good, and Krishna gives you realization in your heart, and then you want to do more and more. And just from that little beginning, little bit of faith that we have, Shraddha, then it just grows more and more and more. But it's just, you need a little bit of knowledge to get started with, and that you're going to get from a devotee. Meeting a devotee gives you, a little bit of faith when you meet a devotee. Wow, this guy is so happy. I want to be like him. So then we get our foot in the door, and then we start it out. And why is he so happy? Is he taking drugs or something? No, he say, "Oh, I'm chanting Hare Krishna." So then, oh, maybe I should chant Hare Krishna too. So it starts off with that little bit of association. You get a little bit of knowledge and faith, and then you start, and then Krishna's pleased when you start chanting and you take some prasadam and you hear the classes, and then he gives you knowledge in your heart. 10, 10. So and then it all grows. So. Yeah, we don't have to feel like, oh, I'm never going to know everything about Krishna, because that's not expected. That we don't have to try to do that. But it was just we want to develop love for Krishna. I mean, and which devotees had more love for Krishna than anybody else? Which group of devotees have more love for Krishna than anybody else? Jayanti said the gopis. Yeah. Are they great scholars? Are they
They don't.
great? They know
They
lots of
don't.
verses and everything. Can they quote all the verses and?
They don't even do 16 rounds.
They probably don't. Well, yeah, they just chant 24/7. That's why. But yeah, they're not great scholars. They can't probably quote lots of verses and everything. But they know the essence of all the scriptures, which is to love Krishna. So somehow we just have to come to that point of loving Krishna. It's not about knowing everything. It's just about developing love for Krishna. But we need a little knowledge to get our foot in the door and start to love Krishna. And then it just grows from there. However, if someone is a scholar and they're inclined to read, read Bhagavad Gita and read Bhagavatam and read Chaitanya Charitamrita and learn all the verses and everything like that, that's great too. And Krishna will be pleased with that too. And if you just, can just give your heart to Krishna because he's so beautiful and handsome and, that he's so affectionate to the devotees and, like that, you become attracted by hearing the pastimes, then that's also wonderful. So, whatever works. But somehow we have to, awaken that attraction for Krishna. That's the thing. But definitely we have to accept Krishna as our friend, because we've turned away from Krishna like that. This is the main disease. We've turned away from God. Prabhupada said the people would say, there's so many problems in modern society. How can we solve these problems? The crime problem, the financial crisis and the environmental crisis and everything like that. Prabhupada would just give this one answer, one solution to all the problems.
Become a Krishna conscious.
Yeah, turn back to Krishna. He said, because he said you have a godless society. You need a God-centered society. You've removed God from your life. Everything is minus God. Now you have to make everything plus God, and that's yoga means plus also. So, we've completely removed, we removed God from our education. We remove God from our families. We remove God from, everything. And we wonder why we're suffering. So that's why. And you just need to put God back in the center of put God back in the center of your family, put God back in the center of your job and your education, your nation, like that. Like Prabhupada would say, on the US dollar, what does it say on the US dollar? In God we trust. But now it's just written on the paper. They don't follow it, they don't actually do that. But that was Prabhupada said that was how the United States of America began, with trust in God. And that's why they become the greatest, country on earth. But now, because they've turned away from God and become so materialistic, now they're collapsing big time. So, and it's not enough to say, oh, I believe in God. You actually have to act in that way, not
Practice.
just talk about it. Like they say,
Practice.
actions speak louder than words. There's a saying like that. You've probably heard that, right? Actions speak louder than words. You can't just say, I believe in God, I love God. We want to see, what are you acting? What are your actions? How much time do you spend, talking about God, glorifying God? And they're just talking about money all the time, or talking about more power, a bigger position and everything. They're not talking about God. So we need to, put that into practice, and then everything will become better. But yeah, Krishna is waiting, just waiting. He loves us so much. He's just waiting to extend his friendship to us. But we don't accept it, It's like he's put out his hand to us, but we refuse to shake his hand. We refuse to accept his extending his friendship. He's extending his friendship to us, but we don't accept that. But Arjuna Arjuna is just loves Krishna with his heart and soul. I heard something amazing, that even when Arjuna is sleeping, it's said that the Hare Krishna mantra comes out of his skin pores. That's how absorbed he is in Krishna, how much he loves Krishna. It's just radiating out of his skin even. Forget about just coming out of his mouth, but even coming out of his body, the holy name is just so. And Arjuna, do you know what color Arjuna's skin is?
Olive, whatever.
Blue. Arjuna's also blue.
The blue was Krishna.
I
Krishna was
know.
blue.
I know. Krishna's blue, of course, but Arjuna's also blue.
Really?
And but the interesting thing is, why is Arjuna blue? Because he's thinking about Krishna so much that his body has become blue. Because he's so absorbed in thinking of Krishna.
Yeah, it's like if you put in the melons, like melon, get the melon's color. If you put in the same basket, it's just absorbing the color.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yes. He's just so intimately connected with Krishna like that. Yeah. So yeah, we should learn this quality from Arjuna to make Krishna our friend.
Then
And it's
if
not
that's
difficult.
the case, that's the case that Prabhupada should be blue too, because he was very close and very true
I know.
devotee, pure devotee. You cannot get any purest in this Kali Yuga like a Prabhupada.
So maybe Krishna wanted Prabhupada to be more accessible for the Kali Yuga people, because obviously if he became blue, then it might be harder for us to approach him. Like we might think he's some weird.
Huh? They said he used to glow as well, like golden.
Oh yeah.
Glow.
Look at that man, he's shining. Look at that man, So many people saw him as being very radiant like that. So yeah. Krishna turned up.
Like small in stature. They never thought he was small at all. But he was quite small. But they said he sort of had such a presence about him as well.
Yeah. Yes.
I heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so nice. Okay. Auntie Mala, do you want to read some of the purport? No, I haven't, Peter.
Going back. Okay.
Yeah. It's only a short purport. You can read the whole purport. Oh, no, there is a break in it, so Gulshan can read the last paragraph.
Okay. The word Bhagavan is explained thus by Parasara Muni, one who is full in 6 opulences, who has full strength, full fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation, is Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all 6 opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parasara Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now Krishna is instructing Arjuna in more confidential knowledge of his opulences and his work. Previously, beginning with the 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they are acting. Now in this chapter, he explains his specific opulences to Arjuna. In the previous chapter, he has clearly explained his different energies to establish devotion in firm conviction. Again, in this chapter, he tells Arjuna about his manifestations and various opulences.
Okay, Gulshan, you read the last one?
The more one hear about Supreme God, the more one become fixed in devotion service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Discourse in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be Krishna conscious. Others cannot take part in such discourse. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourse are taking place.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, so we've talked about this before. So this is the definition of Bhagavan, these 6 opulences. And so Parashara Muni, he's the father of Vyasadeva. So the father of Vyasadeva, he's the one that gave this definition of what God is. So God is that person that possesses all these particular 6 opulences in full, that person is God. So that definition of God was given by Vyasadeva's father. And it's mentioned here that when Krishna was on the earth, he displayed all 6 of these opulences in full. Unlimited strength, wealth, knowledge, fame, renunciation, beauty, like that. So he displayed all these 6 in full. Therefore, all the great thinkers, they accept Krishna as God. So they're not just sentimentally accepting Krishna as God, but they're accepting him because he fits this definition of God. They're possessing all these 6 opulences. When he was on this earth, he demonstrated them. He actually demonstrated them. And because people are not sure whether to believe in God or not, so God comes to this earth to show us, here I am. You don't know whether I exist or not. Well, here I am. I'm showing you. And he demonstrated all these different opulences on this earth. So there shouldn't be any doubt in our minds. There shouldn't be any doubt in our minds because Krishna himself came to this earth. It's recorded in the Vedic scriptures. And all these great personalities like Parashara Muni, Vyasadeva, Shukadeva Goswami, Narada Muni, and let's look at, there's a nice verse which is coming up soon. This chapter is where all the seed verses of Bhagavad Gita are. From chapter 8 it starts, 4 verses, and then Gulshan's favorite 10:10. But then after these 4 seed verses, which goes from 10.8 to 10.11. Then after that, we can look at that one, 12 and 13. So one of you can read that. 12 and 13.
12 and
10th
13.
chapter, 12 and 13.
Yeah.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest, all the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa confirmed this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me.
Mm. So why is it that we should accept Krishna as God? Well,
Because it's been, confirmed by Narada, Asita,
yeah,
Devala, Vyasa.
yeah, 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 yeah. Krishna himself is saying that he's God. Like he says that in 10:8, which is the first of the seed verses. Krishna himself says that he's God. Aham Savasya Prabhavo. If you're going to learn any verses from Bhagavad Gita, these are good ones to learn. 10.8, 10.9, 10.11.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10.8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So this is the first one. He says, I am the source of the spiritual material worlds. Everything emanates from me. So that's basically saying that he's God. But anyone can say that, right? I mean, I can say that I'm God. Okay, so that's one point, the person themselves is saying that I'm God. But we need more than that, you need more than I'm saying that I'm God, so Krishna is saying that he's God. Okay, he said that in 10.8 and other places too. But then this verse is saying, and then Arjuna is also accepting Krishna as God, like he's saying here. You are the Supreme Person of Godhead. You are the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are eternal, transcendental, original person, unborn, and the greatest. So that's Arjuna is accepting that Krishna is God. But you need more evidence than that. Like I say I'm God. Maybe my wife says that I'm God because she's my friend. So anyone's friend can say that they're God or whatever. But then we need more than that as well. So here we've got Krishna saying he's God. Arjuna's saying Krishna's God. But then you've got all these great sages also saying that he's God. So that is like it's all backed up. It's all backed up. Not only Krishna is saying that I'm God, and he proved that he's God, remember, because he lifted a mountain with his left hand. He attracted all the gopis with his flute playing. He's the most beautiful person, the strongest person. He knows everything in everyone's heart. He knows past, present, and future. Like that, he proved all of those things. Even like I tell you, far out, so many far out pastimes. I'll share one. Maybe you can share. Tell me some far out pastime that inspires you about Krishna. I'll tell you one that just to teach by example, Krishna accepted a guru, and the guru's name was
Sandipani
Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni. So after going to Gurukul, and he learned all the 64 arts and sciences of the Vedic education, he learned all 64 departments of knowledge in 64 days. So ordinarily it takes years and years, but he learned every department in one day. So in 64 days, he completed his whole education, which has never been done before. But even he doesn't need 64 days because he knows everything, but he's just got to do something. So he showed that we have to, learn from a teacher. And then after that, you have to give your guru dakshina. So out of gratitude, because the Vedic education is very interesting, very different than the Western. The teacher does not get paid. Like if you're a student, ordinarily you'd have to pay to, like if you're going to go to university, right, you have to pay to get the education. But in Vedic education, it's not like that. You don't have to pay beforehand to get some education. It's a free education. But out of gratitude for all the knowledge you've received from your teacher, the student, out of the gratitude and love in his heart that this person has given me so much knowledge to improve my life, I want to give something to the teacher, and that's called Guru Dakshina. So different things could be given. But because Krishna is God, he wanted to give a very special Guru Dakshina. If you want to give a gift to someone, you give them something they're going to really like, right? Something they really want. So previously, the Guru and his wife had a child, a son. And that son went to the ocean one day and he disappeared. And that broke their hearts. You can imagine that. He had a son and it just went to take bath in the ocean and never came back. So they were heartbroken by that. And then Krishna thought, oh, that'd be a nice gift for my guru. I'll get his son back. So he went into the ocean and went deep in the ocean and he found there was a demon there named, I think, Shankachuda or Shankasura or something. And then and it had the shape of a conch shell. You know, it's called a shunk. You know, the conch shell we blow, boom, that's called a shunk. So this demon's body was the shape of a shunk, conch shell. And he killed that demon, but didn't find the child. So then he went to the some planet. I'm trying to think because there's different pastimes. I think he went to Narikaloka. I think he went to hell or something like that. And anyway, somewhere he went and he found that child. Due to his past karma, he had to, got killed and went wherever he went due to his past karma. So Krishna went and got him, and whoever was in charge of that planet, when they saw, well, God had come to get the child, he didn't argue. Okay, you want to take him, Yamaraj or whoever it was. Yamaraj said, okay, Krishna, you're my boss. If you want to take this child, you take him away. It's up to you. So and then he took him and handed him over to his teacher. Can you imagine how happy the teacher was and the teacher's wife? Had their dead child was returned by the student.
Wow.
And, I mean, he's God, there's no doubt about it. Krishna's God.
The student wasn't an ordinary student.
Definitely not an ordinary student, And interestingly, Sandapani Muni gave, because when the guru is pleased by the disciple, he gives some ashavad. Ashavad means blessings. So if he gave a very interesting blessing, he said that whatever you speak, Krishna, that will be the words of the Vedas. That will be immortal. Whatever comes out of your mouth will be immortalized in the words of the Vedas.
So Sandeepni Muni knew that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Well, like I said, I mean, when he saw that, he brought my child back to life, that he probably was thinking that. I mean, I haven't heard about that, but I would think he would have been seriously thinking that, well, like he's not an ordinary student like that. And it's just so beautiful and everything, And like I said, he learned everything in 64 days. No one's ever done that in the history of the planet before. I mean, we spend 20 years getting educated. Krishna did it in 64 days. And like that. And he didn't need, like I said, didn't even need to take 64 days. Actually, he's the source of education. But just to show us that we need to get, have a teacher, then he did it like that. So, but also on the other side, Krishna has a powerful, we've talked about it before, Yoga Maya, and he covers over the devotee to prevent the devotee from understanding that he's God. So that's Yoga Maya. So he might have been a bit influenced also by Yoga Maya and not always realizing that he's God. Not many people when Krishna was on the earth actually realized that he was God because Krishna was covering them with his Yoga Maya.
So
like that.
Will it be possible that a Yoga Maya come to you, me, or Bhakti Mala, and then we just forget that Krishna was a god? Can it be possible?
No, in the material world, if you're forgetting Krishna as God, there's probably Mahamaya. It's because of Mahamaya. But yeah, in the spiritual world, or when Krishna's present, then Yoga Maya can act, But that's out of, Krishna wants to increase the love of the devotee and not too much awe and reverence, because that's going to happen. If a devotee thinks too much that Krishna's God, is going to lose that pure love. And instead it'll be all the awe and reverence. Oh my God, he's so big and powerful. I better be careful. Otherwise he might send me to hell or whatever like that. So Krishna doesn't want the devotees to be afraid and everything like that. And that's because we actually started Kartik month yesterday as full moon. Full moon yesterday, Purnima. So actually Kartik is going for 1 month from yesterday. So in that 1 month, every night, traditionally devotees sing the Dhammadarastika song and offer a lamp, if you can do that. It's very nice to offer a lamp to Yashoda Damodar, picture of Yashoda Damodar. You can just open, get it out of a book or off the internet or whatever, and offer a diya to that's recommended. And we sing that song, right? And in that song is talking about how Krishna doesn't like his devotees to be overwhelmed by awe and reverence. He much prefers it when they have that spontaneous love. Like Mother Yashoda, right? She was thinking Krishna's my child. She wasn't thinking Krishna's God. Because how do we know that she wasn't thinking Krishna's God? Because she tried to tie him up. You wouldn't try to tie up God, would you? But she's thinking Krishna's my naughty child, and I have to punish him because he's been breaking the yogurt pots and everything like that. So, and feeding it to the monkeys. So, she's covered by Yoga Maya, and Krishna enjoys that because then it's more sweet, very intimate, pure love. Mother Yashoda doesn't love Krishna because he's God. It's not because of anything. It's just pure love, you know. Like is there a reason why you love your child? It's because of it, what are you getting from the child? Nothing. So it's just pure love like that. So yeah, Krishna wants that pure love. He doesn't want it. We are serving Krishna because he's God. No, it's not because he's God. Because you love Krishna. And does that make sense? That's what Krishna wants. Not because he's going to give me liberation. That's not pure love, Because he's going to get me free from suffering, because he's going to make me happy. That's why we say causeless devotional service. What does it mean when you say unmotivated? And another word is unmotivated. Unmotivated devotional service. Causeless devotional service. That's called in Sanskrit a hoitaki. Hoitaki means cause. You put an A in front of it, ahoitaki, means without cause. So it's not because Krishna is God and powerful and he can save me and everything, and there I'm going to serve him. No, you can do that. That's no problem. But the best is to have that unmotivated, causeless devotional service, and that pleases Krishna very much. And that will also make us completely happy as well. What is the problem with having a cause? Can you think what could be a possible problem?
You can attach to the fruit.
That's there. Yeah, you're attached to the fruit, not him. You just want something out of him, like business, right? You just want
business
something out of him.
Yeah.
Another problem with it.
Unconditional is the one should do.
Yeah, unconditional, yeah. Another potential problem, what if you don't get from him what you wanted? What would happen then to the relationship?
Or distress.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, ta-da, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't give me what I wanted, I'm not going to serve you anymore. And Prabhupada gives a very nice example from the World War II. He said in World War II, all the mothers and the wives and the daughters went to the church and the temples and the mosques to pray to God, please bring my father and my husband and my sons back home. And do you know what happened?
What happened?
Many of them didn't come home. Many of them didn't come home from the war. And do you know what happened to all those women that went to the church and the temples and the mosques when they didn't come home?
They lost interest.
They lost interest. They didn't go. You didn't bring my whoever back. Well, I'm not coming to worship you anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. If you have some motivation and you don't get that, what you wanted from him, like
so
that.
You reckon
but,
if we don't make any prasadam in temple, people won't come?
That's all right. It's like that. That's to get your foot in the door. To get your foot in the door, then there will be definitely be a motive. Like we know, actually, Jayanti's sister mentions that's how she got started. She was attracted to the prasadam of the Sunday feast, so she started going to the Sunday feast.
If there's no
and that's all she would do. She would just go. She would go and bow her head down the temple, then go and eat prasad, and then go with her and her husband. And that went on for some time, 1 week, 1 month, like that, maybe 1 year. And then they felt bad after some time. We're taking so much nice food from here, but we're not doing anything. So then they said, can we do something for the temple? And that started them out. So that's all right in the beginning, you know, that's expected. There will be a motive. So there's no problem with that. And I said that before. That's okay. But that won't fully satisfy God. It won't fully satisfy us. We have to go further than that. So don't just continue on that, but we have to go further than that. Well, we're not criticizing someone that's on that platform, but we have to go further than that. Otherwise, we'll be like those women in the wartime. You know, they didn't go further than that, and then they just gave up. Well, you didn't give me my, you know, man back. Then see you later, mate. You know, like that. So we have to go further than that. Otherwise, eventually it'll probably, you know, just peter out, you know, fizzle out like that. So yeah, and Krishna wants that, like, isn't it Gulshan, like, would you be happy if someone, wants to be with you because of how much money you have or how your good looks or something like that? Or, you know, it's not really going to be such a meaningful relationship.
You still consider I'm a good looking.
Of course.
Bhaktimala, you are witness. You are Jehovah's
Of course,
Witness.
yeah. But that's very superficial, just for the external things. You want someone that loves you because of who you are, not what you are, or because of your position, that you're the president or the CEO, or you're the Bill Gates, charge of Microsoft, or you want someone to value you for just your qualities of who you are, not your labels that you have, your position. What you are.
When because when all the Krishna's cowherd boys got taken by Lord Brahma, and he pretended to be, he took their place but they all grew more attracted to the calves and the boys at that time. But not because he was God. That's because he had, like, why would they be more attracted to their children then when Krishna was taking their place, if they're not attracted to him because he was God,
Well, they didn't know, all those parents of the boys and parents of the calves, means the cows, they didn't know that all those children were actually expansions of Krishna, but they just naturally felt more attracted. And that's because Krishna's the, ultimate attractive person. So even if he assumes the form of a calf or a boy, it's like ultimately. Yeah. No, I think I saw it on the shelf. I don't know. Remember, we had some the other day with a pancake. Remember,
I'm not talking about chutney. I'm talking about.
I haven't. Anyway, we'll talk. I'm nearly finished in a few minutes. Yeah, I haven't touched it. I saw it on the shelf in a small bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just because he's the most attractive.
Yeah, the most attractive. So whatever form he assumes, even not the form of Krishna, then it's just so attractive, even more than. So they felt the parents all became more attracted to their so-called kids in that 1 year than they were normally. And Balaram was wondering what's going on, because Balaram didn't know. So Balaram was wondering, why are all these parents, suddenly becoming as attracted to their kids as they were to Krishna? Because that's what happened. Because they're always attracted to Krishna the most, right? But during that year, they were as attracted to their own children as they were to Krishna. And Balaram was trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. And that's because they were all Krishna. So that's another good example, from Krishna's pastimes, that he must be God, because no one else can do that. No one else can do that. And is there any pastime, Gulshan, before we finish, that really gives you the realization that Krishna's God and attracts you? One pastime that really hits you hard?
Not at the moment. I can't think. There's plenty past time we did that, because where he
Any favorites, personal favorites?
The Govardhan Hill when he picked up
Yeah.
is when I was making a over there parikrama at the Govardhan Hill there 2022. There's a few that the sages, I don't know, Brahman or whatever they call them, as saintly people there, and they do like a 3 rounds a day. It takes like a 6 hours for each round, so just 3 rounds a day and then sleep, because 18 hours you walk and then you sleep 6 hours, and they go to beg for 3 houses. Whatever they get in the 3 houses, that's what they can get. Even if they got 1 banana in 3 houses, that's it. That's what they meal. Even if they got a 1 little apple or whatever, half a bread or something. I said, my God, that is austerity. They do 3 circles in a day. I've seen some of them there.
Wow.
You know that who was the tall devotee? He was here. Very tall devotee. What his name? He was here at the Bhakti tree and the temple as well. A very tall guy. What's his Sham? Oh, Sundar.
Sundar Gopal,
Sundar
yeah,
Gopal.
Sundar Gopal,
He
he's
along
sending
with
us
him.
pictures.
Yeah,
He sent yesterday. He sent some pictures of Govardhan.
Yeah, he sent every day. Yeah, he lives there. So along with him, I did the parikrama, and it was a great
Wow.
time. And I
Nice.
was
Oh,
looking
that's great.
Lord,
Yeah.
Lord Krishna just had that on the pinky, and then sometimes like I just feel like I just get like stunned.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God.
When I first joined, the very first pastime I read from Krishna book was Aghasura, Krishna and the big serpent, the big snake, and all the boys walked in.
Yeah.
That is always stuck in my mind because it's the very first pastime I ever heard. So I found that just mind-blowing, that Krishna kills this big demon after all his friends walked in his mouth and everything. And just the descriptions is amazing about his breath was like a fishy bad smell, and his upper jaw was in the clouds and everything like that. His teeth were like mountain peaks. It's an amazing description. He was 8 miles long, and Krishna just expanded his body inside of his mouth and exploded him like that. I just always stuck in my mind that pastime. And just what really touched me was that Krishna's boyfriends actually had some realization that we think this is a demon. However, they still walked in his mouth because they had so much faith that Krishna will save us. Even if he is a demon, but Krishna will look after us. And they just walked right into his mouth with that complete faith that Krishna will protect us. I thought, wow, that's amazing faith.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
Very
Discussing
nice.
Krishna's opulences.
Yeah.
Lovely to be with you both again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Hare
Hey,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a nice
Hare
week.
Krishna.
Did you find it?